Oh my goodness, the camera is going crazy. Okay, let's see if we can get this a little bit better here. Okay, sorry about that. Welcome to the One True Divine Feminine and Psychic Investigations Tarot. Yes, I am the woman who solved her own crime using tarot cards and astrology. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. We are, of course, going to talk about astrology and tarot today, partly because so many things seem to be written in stone. Like here in the Southwest, you can tell the stories of our ancestors by visiting the canyons and looking for the petroglyphs and pictures etched into stone, right? And just as we have those things etched into stone in wild places like where I live, our life path is also etched into our astrology chart. It doesn't mean that everything is destined to happen. It means that there are certain energies afoot that you can harness for good or ill will in your life, but there are certain proclivities there that may lead you down certain paths. And of course, one of the reasons to study astrology is to learn what's in your chart to understand yourself better so that you can channel the energies wisely in your life, even if you have some difficult configurations, which almost all of us do, right? But it's understanding what's there, how to overcome the difficulties in a positive fashion using good spiritual wisdom and knowledge and practices to overcome the difficulties that have been laid out for you. And of course, it's my belief that those difficulties are laid out for you for a purpose. And it's because we are born into a time and place where we have to go through certain things in order for us to learn and grow and evolve and become closer to the divine, right? So it's all about learning what we need to learn so that we can get closer. So even if you have difficult things in your chart, and again, we all do, it's about learning what's there so that you can use positive tools to overcome. And that's the purpose of astrology as a spiritual practice, is to use it wisely, not to harm people, but to help people on a better path. And I think that's really important because, especially right now in our country, we have a lot of people who are very possessed. And I mean by a number of things, right? Dark entities, witchcraft, spell work. But it gets even worse than that. It's a possession of wanting, the greed. Just, I want to draw things out of people. I want to draw their life energy, their life spirit. I want to have money at any cost. I want to win at any cost. I want to have this, have that. The money thing to the point of that lust for that kind of energy is causing such a dark spirit, not only around individuals, but our country as a whole. And I mean, to the point that I've had people try to scramble my brains with MK Ultra for money so that they could buy nice school clothes for their kids, to sex trafficking, me possibly. Maybe even in my shower on the dark web, so that they could, fund a lovely lifestyle off of harming another person. This is not only a possession, but an obsession, right? With money, with not thinking about people and how you're harming human beings. It's like, look, they can no longer see the humanity in individuals because of these possessions. And so, as part of our national psyche, we need to start to look at what is it that we truly value and truly honor in our country so that we are not so possessed that we're drawing in this crazy kind of energy to fund things like school uniforms for kids, doing terrible things to people. And it's not just money and greed. There's also a tremendous amount of jealousy and envy around things I laugh that I don't even have, right? So that green energy, that envious green eye that just can rot people's soul. And I call this the Crimea River card because rather than looking within to figure out how to have your own best life, develop your own skills and talents, it's more like just this jealous energy of what you have, which of course I don't even have, right? Because it was all stolen anyhow. But oh, I don't like their job. I wish I had their job, so let me block their job. Let me snuff their light out. Let me this, let me that. And such a negative energy, really, when all of that energy should be put towards developing the self, developing your own heart center, developing a path so that you can be happy and not be crying a river, right? Because that kind of energy just brings sadness into a person's life. And this has been happening so much with this particular case, so much that we have literally created a deluge, right? Where people are now being confronted with enormous emotional storms of what they have done to another human being. And I'm overcoming. So, what really is happening, though, is they're wrecking their own homes, literally, and or the home in dream symbology is the body. So they're ruining their health. They're bringing tower moments into their lives, which are filled with electrical energy. And of course, water and electricity cause tremendous problems, right? And it's just this emotional flood of things. And part of that's happening because people are having to look at what they have done to a human being for money or for envy or jealousy or greed or because you wanted a different person in charge or whatever the reason was. But this needs to happen because this emotional deluge needs to occur because we need to clean out those kinds of energies and start afresh with calmer waters and emotions that honor, people and not things so much, right? Things come and go. When you leave this planet, you go with nothing except for what you had inside of you, right? All of the rest of this falls away. It's all pretty meaningless if you think about it, unless you use it for good, right? It's otherwise just something that goes away, right? Because we are spiritual beings having a human experience. We even leave the vehicle behind. Now, the point of this reading is to get to some of the truths of the matter. And you can see the sword of truth here, trying to pierce into, the heart of things. And I like this card too because you can see all of the energy flowing towards this one person. Now, this could be electronic spying. This could be finding texts, watching people job blocking, detectives, private eyes, FBI guys searching homes. So the information is pouring in, and it is going to come to a point of truth. And this truth is going to be very hard for a lot of people to face, and I am so very sorry for that. But the one thing we can think of as that information pours in is that in all of this, there is a great lesson. And I hope this lesson isn't lost, right? Because we are all part of the same God energy right here. We're all part of that. So whatever you do to another human being, you have done to yourselves. With some of the worst things that have happened to me, you did this to your mother, your daughter, your granddaughter, your wife, your sister, your aunt. You did it to all women. And some of you may have done it to buy stocks. You may have done it because you thought it was funny and you could pass the tape around and laugh like it was a big joke. But in reality, what that's going to do is to cause a tsunami in your own life because you're going to have to look at the kinds of things you're doing for money to a real human being. And we are all part of the same God creation. So I am sorry that those lessons are coming, and yet they need to occur. Why? Because our country has turned into something that I no longer recognize. And I love my country, and I don't know how we got so far off track that we're doing horrible things to human beings for money and jealousy and greed and envy, because we are all part of the same God consciousness, right? So we need to start bringing peace and light and wisdom to the situation, not only as individuals, but we need to tap into our higher thoughts and prayer and start to think about the things that we've done, right? And what drove us to get to that point? And can we not bring some more angelic vibes to the situation, right? So that we can turn our world into a more beautiful, enlightened place. And that may require that each of us goes to our own mountaintop, right? To commune with that higher energy, to go within and talk to God and try to bring a better world down to earth here, right? We can see there's a beautiful bird overlooking this rainbow. It's like, we need to plot and plan for a better future in this country for all people. So we can get rid of the hatred, the misogyny, the mistrust, and everything from people who have different faiths, right? Find a more loving path, right? And if that means that we have to have individual territories where we can each have more of our own thing that we like, I think that's a positive step, right? The two-party system has been killing us in this country because it's a brutal battle, and winning at any cost has become too costly, right? So we need to find some higher wisdom. We need to recognize where we are. We need to see how Pluto and Capricorn is playing out and that it looks really, really, really bad with all the corruption right now, just really bad. And we need to go to the mountaintop and find some better answers. And this is going to require a lot of reflection. So we have the Moon card here. And in this case, I'm going to say we need to start looking at how we're treating women in this country. We have done so much to block women's voices out. Their voices are not honored in many places of worship. They're not even heard. We are trying to shut them out of politics. When I see how some women are treated who try to run, it's shameful, right? There's so much wisdom and knowledge in so many women. And yet, people act as if these people should be barred. And I don't understand that. Why would you not draw on that maternal wisdom that is there, right? So we need to come to terms with the misogyny that we have going on right now, to the point of, trafficking a woman in her shower and making a, tape and all those kinds of things, because that's not godly. That's filth and indecency. And I have been through what I would call the filthatization of a woman for profit. And I want our country to reflect deeply on what's been done to women and recognize this is 2022. And why are we still here? Why are we here? We need to reflect on this energy. Why? Because each and every one of us in our birth chart has a sun. Our sun is our will, our soul purpose, our God connection. It's the God light in each and every one of us. That is meant to shine out into the world. And yet I have had people who have made it their mission to destroy my God spirit, which to me is nothing shy of murder. And I don't understand it because it doesn't seem godly, right, at all. Like, why would you do that to any human being? But at the same time, our chart in the USFA also has a soul purpose, right? And that soul purpose is getting swallowed by some of these dark energies that are literally blacking out the light of our sun and turning us into something that, frankly, I don't recognize, nor do I want to. I can't understand the energy of wanting to snuff out a person's light. That seems as far away from God as I could imagine anything, because in a decent, loving, kind society, you would want to uplift people and have them bring their gifts to bear in the world. And by the nature, we try to snuff that out. I mean, literally with, sex trafficking and kidnapping and murder plots and bury alive in a box plots. We are drawing in dark energies that are murking up the beauty of the US of A. And instead, we could tap into the power and wisdom that women have. This woman is very powerful, and I would say I'm pretty powerful too. I've overcome tremendous odds in my life more than once. And I did not come from a privileged background. I basically grew up in a very poor family, and I've overcome a tremendous amount of stuff. Well, this woman here, she draws from the energy of the heavens, right? You can see that vibrant energy, and you can see she's very powerful on drawing on the resources from the earth. This is all great if you channel that energy wisely to do good things in the world. And again, why would you want to stop something like that? But the other implication of this card is, because this woman is powerful and she does draw on a lot of resources to transform the world that she's living in. And I'm not talking about me in this instance, but just the symbology of the card. This woman can wreak a storm upon people's lives if she desires to, right? That's not me. I'm sorry, everybody is where they are, but I'm just saying the energy of the card is just use your resources wisely. Try not to channel all of your energy into blocking a human being from working or having their light shine. And especially when this particular person just wants to draw on the energies that she is connected to do good things in the world, right? And that's what we should all want for ourselves. It's all about toil and labor, right? But toil and labor indicates that you're working on your own energy, your own time, your own resources. It's like you're using the tools that you have to plant the seeds for your own garden. And if you put in that hard work, eventually you get a rainbow overhead. But when you spend all of your time and energy in trying to steal everybody else's resources, everybody else's gifts, trying to be another human being, that tends to lead to just a dry field, right? Maybe it works for a time, but in time, that field is going to go fallow. So the real goal is to develop thyself. And when people don't do that, that brings in very devilish energy. And I do mean devilish, which is witchcraft, spell work, which looks a lot like slander and lies and fraud and signing people's names on things and etc. And that brings chaos into people's lives. Now, for a while, it's brought chaos into my life, like a whirlwind, a tornado of harm, things falling from the sky and dying. But all of that energy is going back. And again, I'm so sorry for that. I really am. But the goal is don't call in that devilish energy, right? Focus on planting your own fields, doing the right thing, putting in the toil and the labor, right? And I know so many groups came against me, which I find very interesting because I believe in the same deity that you do. Not that that should matter, because in this country we have the right to believe however we want. But I know there were many organizations that came against me. And yet, what did I want? I wanted free and fair elections. I want decency. I want a path towards God where we all have our own unique path. And yet I had so many people working in the background, hiding their hand, trying to bind me, box me in, starve me out, block out the light of my sun, my God energy, and all of this for nefarious purposes. And I have to question a society that uses these kinds of forces, right? What kind of godly energy is that to trap a woman, bind her hands, bring in dark energy and forces to keep her stuck, right? Or sick or stuck in the house? What kind of world does that to a woman? I think we need to reflect deeply on that, right? And we need cleansing and healing. This is a whale la baleen. They say if you can trust the whale, you can shelter safely in the mouth, right? But you have to have a lot of trust to go in there. But basically, what this has brought is an enormous storm. And you can see the storm, the emotionally charged waters, the flood waters, again, the deluge. And this is all happening because we can't come to grips with the fact that our two-party system is killing us, because we are literally fighting each other because the numbers don't work, when what we really need to do is deal with the structural problems in our country so that we are not at this point of basically trying to murder a family to win at any cost. Okay, that's unacceptable energy. And that's why we have this storm brewing. And in truth, some people are going to get swallowed whole by this storm. And I am not going to be one of them. I'm overcoming, I'm getting stronger, I'm returning to myself, but I am calling for change. Because we need wisdom. We're all Americans, right? We should, however we do it, draw on the God energy and try to bring that beautiful energy down to earth to make good things happen. And here is the large full moon, right? That feminine energy, that wisdom, that ability to see behind the veil, tap in, and try to harness that energy for good. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do, because where we are right now is not working. The big lies, the cheating, all of that, that's not working. And yet we all want change. We all want more of what we want. We need to deal with the structural problems. And we need to come to the table and talk. And we need to draw on that heavenly energy. And in talking, we can bring inspiration and light to the situation, right? It is literally all about trying to tap into higher energy. So here you can see the serpent. He's got his tail kind of reaching up to the clouds. Once again, to ground that energy down to earth. And here's all the eggs so that we can birth new things, right? Because we want our sun for our nation to shine bright and beautifully. We have the most beautiful thing in the world, in this country. And lately, we have been disregarding that completely and murking up the sun again, covering it with darkness, and even to the point, again, of trying to snuff the God light out of the human being. And how did we get to this point? Especially when you did this to a woman who has good intentions for the world, who loves her country, and basically has, I have many prayers, right? I do pray. I pray the traditional way. I also meditate, and I do hypnosis, which is an enormous form of prayer. But I have a prayer for the earth, right? And part of my God energy has always been to try to help save this planet. And we need that prayer right now. You can see we've been given the most beautiful gift by the divine. There's all the hands like, wow, what a beautiful gift. And yet we are destroying it systematically to the point that I would say by 2050, we could be facing tremendous problems, big storms, crop failures, mass migrations, people being shot as they try to cross over fences that hold them towards rising seas. We are facing calamity, folks. It's the biggest moral problem facing the world today. And yet we don't deal with it because of the possession, the money, the greed, the big oil, the big gas, the suitcases of money, the organizations that are bought and are bought by these people who hand over the suitcases of money so that politicians vote for the suitcase instead of for the people. And the calamity that we are going to rain upon ourselves could literally end the world. We are at the point where we are breaking down huge ecological systems to the point that we could destroy this great gift that God has given us. And there is only one habitable planet. So that has been one of my prayers, right? And I know there's a lot of people, well, I don't believe in climate change. Well, I could tell you I do. And if I were you, if you have kids, I'd look into it because it is going to impact them. I do have a book out if you want to learn more. It's called Sacred Ground: How Climate Change is Devastating America's National Parks. And of course, I was working in a park recently until somebody hacked my computer. So again, it's been this continual effort to snuff out my light, and yet here I am. I'll just find another way, right? Because it's hard to kill a good person, as you're all finding out. I have a very big spirit, but we do need to start looking at what kinds of deaths we need in this country. And people look at the death card and they think, oh, that's terrible. Well, in reality, this is a card of transformation if you view it wisely, right? We need to start cutting out the things that bind us. So much of what is binding us has to do with this card, with the extreme greed, the materialism, the things that take hold of us and just destroy a person's soul. The suitcases of money that are showing up to kill your children and grandchildren. These things have to be cut away and remove all of the things that are stinging us in the backside, like the scorpion here, so that we can birth a new world order. This is necessary, folks. You can try all you want to snuff my light out. I'll just find another way to let it shine. But we can't keep burying our head in the sand because there's too much at stake. And so anyhow, I could focus on the negative, but really in truth, I just want to show enormous gratitude for all the people who are drawing in all the information and for people who are solving the crimes, and for you to get to know me. I think so many people made decisions about me without knowing me at all, and I couldn't possibly love my country more. I'm just very concerned right now. But I have gratitude because I know there are good people out there, and no matter what background of life we're from, what color, what race, what religion, who you sleep with, I could care less. We need to join forces and have gratitude for this beautiful planet that we have before it is too late. So my site is a site of healing, right? And this is about healing the planet. It's also about healing the possessions that are binding us and allowing us to egregiously hurt women. And I think, again, we need to look at all of the misogyny that we have right now. Now, I've made some cards because it's also about solving crimes, right? And getting to the bottom of things. So I will say this: more lies were told about me than you could shake a stick at. I could go over them and over and over them, but I'll address one right now. I'm not racist. Never have been. I've supported many causes. One of my best astrology friends was a Black lady that I loved dearly. She and I talked on the phone every week, shared hotel rooms, went to conferences together. She was a good buddy, right? So I know that that's one of the things. I've given money to NAACP. I tried to get Oprah in office. I've supported Warnock. I gave to the redistricting thing with Eric Holder or Holden twice. So you need to get to know me, right? Because what was said because people had stolen money and they wanted to hang on to it. Everything that was a lie, basically. And they were all projections. That's the other thing. Things that were said about me were things that they had held within themselves. So the truth is going to come out. I think I've had more than one of these, but for the little hitman that couldn't, thank you. And for the, the warlocks who are still trying to do this, I'm a good person. You need to lay off. Plus, I have a lot of healing techniques, and I have literally covered myself with angelic white light. And all of the stuff you're doing is bouncing right off and it's coming home to roost. So quit doing that to yourself. Plus, I'm a good human being. So just knock it off, right? I am a very powerful healer. I have healed myself twice of things that were meant to kill me. twice. And each time I do it, I get stronger. Oh, I do think I have 60-minute energy all over me. I think I'm hoping we don't get to that point. I'm hoping that all these problems will be resolved peacefully and internally. And I think that they are. But there are some people that need to dig deep and start fessing up with what they did. Come on, trying to scramble my brains with MK Ultra for school kids' outfits. You've got to be kidding me. In my goddamn shower, you fix your shit. Okay? Right? Because I'm bringing the storm. Right? I'm bringing the storm. Why? Because you cannot treat women this way, especially not innocent women. But you shouldn't be doing this to anyone. And I am going to bring the storm. So prepare yourselves. It's time to buy a life raft and preservers. And I'm doing this, why? For the benefit of all women. And so the light of our country is not covered in filth. So you thought I was weak? You better knuckle down, boys. Okay. Your neighbors are not who you think they are. And that won't be for everybody, but some of them have got some extremely scary behaviors going on. Yes, it is my belief my husband was poisoned 3 times. They intended that, I think, for me, except for I don't smoke. So I didn't get any because that was one of the lies. So I don't smoke. And there's way more crazy stuff than that going on. So just saying, if you've been wondering about people, there's a reason. Listen to your gut. The overriding thing that I've been put through is filthatizing a woman for profit. And that is not godly. And I'm going to let that one sink in because you guys know what you did. And how in the world could you ever call that godly? I'm calling in the storm. These things need to change. I've certainly learned lately that privilege has absolutely nothing to do with decency. And often not much to do with truth either. Angelic white light equals God energy protection. I know I go about reaching God in a different fashion, but let me tell you, the yoga, the chanting, the prayer, the meditation, the hypnosis has literally saved my life twice. I have a powerful connection to the divine. I just go about it very differently than you do. Guess what? Sex magic failed. 35-year monogamous marriage. Keep it in your pants. How's that? I want my book back. That's 5 years of work. Get it uncopyrighted. That's my work. The FBI knows it too. I want my book back. Need to develop your own resources. I know people have weird feelings about astrology, but never in my life have I used it for anything but good. And I go to conferences all the time, and I don't know a single astrologer, not one, who uses it for ill will. Now, some people who were in my house voyeuring me got a hold of it, and they began, how do we ruin our career? How do we destabilize our house? How do we break up our marriage? Oh my gosh. For a spiritual person, somebody who's truly spiritual, that's just an atrocity. You don't use astrology for that. You use it for good things, right? I used mine to solve a major crime. And let me tell you, it did put us in the right houses. Yes, it did. And actually, it is going to turn out that it is changing world events too. And I hope for the better. That's the goal. So 12th house energy. We're just going to throw some astrology stuff in. It's the house of secrets, sorrows, and self-undoing. It can also be a very spiritual house. Again, so much of it is all about choice. And so, because of that, it has the energy of asylums, jails, and yoga centers and retreats. Why? Because it's places where you basically get locked away in the quiet where you get to think about things. Now, again, it depends, which one are you harnessing? Are you harnessing the more godlike energy, or are your secrets, sorrows, and self undoing leading towards prison? The masks are beginning to come off, and watch as they do, because some people are not who you think they are, and some energies should not be where they are. Wow. I don't even think I remember all of the plots. So many things have been done to destroy me. Yes, there were murder plots. There still are murder plots, poisoning attempts, kidnapping, sex trafficking. Oh, yeah, there was the intended gang rape. That was a really particularly nice one. Wanting to do a human sacrifice on me, to offer me up to demonic forces. Not happening, folks. I've got God's energy all over my back. So, and then there were, pedo problems too. So, this is the filth of what we've become over cheating and things that possess people's souls, right? We have to deal with this energy. Why? Because we want a country where our light truly shines. All right, on that note, God bless everybody. Thank you to Real Detectives. Thank you, King of Swords. Thank you to the FBI. Thank you to the real police, to real detectives, genuine people who are still doing their job, who are not taking suitcases of money to subvert the entire process in our country. Thank you for watching out for me. Thank you for undoing the spell work. I would like us to be, once again, one nation under God and not one nation under spell work. I hope you all had a blessed Thanksgiving, and my heart pours out enormous love and gratitude in every direction for all you've done. Thank you. Have a great day.